there, welcome to Turk Talks. Did you know that Andor is the best written piece of Star Wars media that I have ever consumed in my life? And that includes comics, video games, books, movies, and shows. Up next on Turk Talks. So, as I said in the intro, Andor is the best written piece of Star Wars media that I have ever consumed in my life, and that is true. I have played Jedi Fallen Order, which is a really fantastically written video game. I have seen every single Star Wars movie that there is to see. I have seen nearly all of the shows that are in existence. I've also read a lot of Legends and canon books and comics. Shout out to the Republic Commando novels and to the Darth Vader comics and to the Dark Horse comics. Kind of grew up on the Dark Horse comics and Republic Commando as well. The canon stuff from Darth Vader is something that I actually really enjoyed and I think is awesome. Yeah, I've seen a lot of Star Wars, obviously, because, I mean, you guys saw my tattoo in the Commander Cody video. Obviously, we got all this back here. We got, you know, this lovely little book over here and these books. Oh, we got K2 over there. We got a U-Wing. Love the U-Wing. It's one of my favorite ships. Besides, of course, the Republic gunship. Video on that coming out this year. Subscribe if you want to see me talk about my favorite ship in all of Star Wars, the Low Altitude Assault Transport, which is also known as the Lardy, which is also known as the Republic gunship. Anyway, Andor. So, I have consumed a lot of Star Wars media. Obviously, I'm a big Star Wars fan, and it's kind of my life. I am also a filmmaker. I am a writer, I am a director, I am a sound guy. I do camera as well, but sound is really my focus. And as a director and a writer, I am always watching media, always trying to consume different books, different shows, different comics. I love playing video games as well. I love the Horizon series. I really love story-driven games because writing is obviously something that's super important to me. So when I tell you that the writing in Andor is as good as it is, when I say that the writing in Andor is better than the writing in Empire Strikes Back, I mean it. Empire Strikes Back is obviously a colossus when it comes to a film. It has one of the greatest plot twists in cinema history, that being, spoiler alert, for those of you children who haven't seen Star Wars yet, Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. He is Anakin Skywalker, the father of Luke Skywalker, protagonist of the original trilogy, and what that means is it blew everyone's mind. My parents were in the movie theater when that bombshell was dropped for the first time. They said a gasp went out through the whole audience. That is absolutely killer. So again, I'm going to reiterate, Andor has better writing than that. Now, does it have like the most amazing plot twist ever? Are there like super gasp-worthy moments? Not really. I'm not gonna say that it has the best plot twist in cinematic history, but I will say that it has some of the best visual effects that I have ever seen in a TV show and in Star Wars in general, and it has really goosebump-worthy moments. Absolutely fantastic monologues from Nemec.
Remember this. Try.
From Luthen.
I burn my life to make a sunrise that I know I'll never see.
From Kino Loy.
There is one way out.
From Marva, Andor's mother.
The Empire is a disease that thrives in darkness. It is never more alive than when we sleep.
You get so much character development and so many wonderful little anecdotes and moments. The world feels breathable and livable, and the set design, my God, the set design is just absolutely fantastic. I mean, really, they went all out by building real sets, and yes, they did use the volume as well to film certain parts of it, and you can kind of tell, but they did a really good job of hiding it, unlike Book of Boba Fett, which it was kind of obvious that they shot that whole thing on the volume. But no, like Andor, they actually built sets. Like Diego Luna has an anecdote that they climbed up a mountain for like 12 hours just to get like 2 shots. Like, they were doing really epic things to make sure that this show was something different, something special, something new for Star Wars that we have never seen before. And it's Tony Gilroy, the guy who did the Bourne movies. He actually wrote all three of, well, actually 4 of the original Bourne movies. But anyway, Tony Gilroy is a veteran of cinema. And in fact, it was he who helped out with Rogue One, which, as many of us can agree, is the best Star Wars movie that Disney has made. Some people will argue for Solo. Some people really love the sequels. But I think that Rogue One is the best Star Wars movie that Disney has actually made, and it shows. It's got fantastic character development, it's got great growth, and it's the first time that we see our main protagonist here, Cassian Andor, who is conveniently pictured right here behind me. While many consider Empire Strikes Back to be the best Star Wars film ever made, which I tend to agree with them. I'm a big fan of Revenge of the Sith, but if I'm being honest as a filmmaker, it's not quite as good as Empire Strikes Back. This show has a lot of love for Empire, and you can tell, obviously, because it takes place 5 years before the Battle of Yavin, and it's in the era of the Rebellion. So this is before Luke goes down the trench run and blows up the Death Star. It takes place around the same time as Rebels, and you would think that there would be some crossover, but there isn't really, because the Rebels are kind of doing their own thing, and this is Cassian's journey to becoming a big rebel. One of the things that you're going to hear about the show, that anybody is going to hear about the show, is that it is a slow start. This is absolutely true. The first 3 episodes, you've got to get through them, and you have to get through the next 3 episodes as well, because there are 4 3-episodes arcs, because there are never more than 12 episodes. Brenna, you're watching Andor because of this video. I'm just going to tell you now, you're going to have to watch all of it, every single episode, all 12 of them. There are 4 arcs. It starts out with the 3-episode arc, which focuses on corporate security and getting us into the story, setting up our protagonist in Cassian Andor. You got to really get past that 3rd episode in order to really get into the show. There are not a lot of pew-pews in this particular show, just letting everybody know that. Then we have the 2nd arc about the Aldhani heist, which is 3 episodes. And then we have the 3rd arc, which is actually 4 episodes long, which is about Narkina 5 and Ferrix as well. It's the last 2 episodes that are kind of their own thing that are about Ferrix. I'm going to try my hardest to not do a lot of spoilers, because I really want you all to watch the 1st season before you see the 2nd season. It's an awesome show. It absolutely deserves your watch. It deserves these ratings. So please go and see the show, the 1st season of it, before you watch the 2nd season, because it's totally worth it. Again, little slow, but it is so worth it if you are into movies, if you like Star Wars at all, or even if you don't like Star Wars. I think it's just an awesome story that has compelling characters that you will be invested in. Oh my God, that reminds me, at the end of the show, when she's giving her speech, the editing, the cinematography, the sound design, all of it, it's just so well done. If you understand filmmaking, you understand some of the tips and tricks that we use to make you feel things or make you know things. If you want somebody to be a bad guy and you want them to look like they're a bad guy, don't show their face. Or if you do show their face, show it from a distance. You want to have wide shots. You want to be far away from that person. You want to physically distance yourself from somebody, because if you want somebody to look like a good guy, you use a close-up. So right now we have a wide shot. It's more of a medium shot, but in this angle here, it's a medium shot. I'll show you a little bit farther away from me. This shot over here, is a close-up. It's a medium close-up, but it's closer, so you can see how my face moves, and I can show you how I'm emoting, and you can understand me and connect with me differently. But in this shot here, you connect with me a little bit less because you see a little bit less of my face. Obviously, we're still pretty close here, but they do that so well in Andor, because while they do have close-ups of the bad guys, they do a really great job in this one scene that I'm talking about in particular of distancing themselves from the bad guys, where you don't really see who they are. You just see them as kind of nameless, faceless stormtroopers, because that's what they are. And that scene is just, the eye lines in particular are just fantastic. These moments of connection between actors or between characters as they realize what they're about to do. And it's just, I don't remember who did the cinematography for the show, but they did a fantastic job. Like, the way that they made it feel so real with those real sets, they were able to get so much more dynamic movement out of the camera angles. Like, so much that's shot on the volume these days, it doesn't have quite the dynamic movement that we want, that we really want to see, that makes us feel like we're watching movies again, like we're watching shows. We've kind of lost that, and I feel like Andor is actually bringing it back. Like, we're really starting to get into what is cinema, what is movie making, filmmaking, even though it's a TV show, and it's absolutely beautiful. And I love the dynamic of the real set and the camera movement, and that cinematographer did a great job. The cinematography was done by 3 different people throughout the show. That would be Damian Garcia, Adriano Goldman, and Frank Lamb. And shout out to those guys, because they did an absolutely incredible job of really making the show feel different. Star Wars is often very static. You know, a lot of it's shot on sticks. It does have a lot of controlled movement, but they really made Andor feel different by actually adding in like handheld shots and Steadicam work, and just they used a lot of different tools. And lighting, oh man, the lighting is so well done. I love the world. It's so lived in. It feels so good. And the editing is just outstanding. They make some absolutely awesome references to the original trilogy. They straight up rip a couple of shots out of episode 4, a couple of sequences actually, and it's really cool to see those references. Because I think it really helps a lot of the audience connect to the show, because they're reminding you that you are, in fact, watching a Star Wars show. It's not just really good TV, it also happens to be Star Wars as well. And I just really appreciate that. I'm a guy who loves movies. I'm a guy who loves cinema. I love a lot of shows too, and I love Star Wars. It's amazing to finally see really, really well-written Star Wars. Like, look, I love the writing of Jedi Fallen Order. I love the writing of the Republic Commando novels, but like, Andor takes the cake, man. I love it. It's such a good show, and I cannot thank the filmmakers enough for the absolutely incredible job that they did putting the show together. And I cannot wait for season 2 coming out April 22nd. My wife, Miss Producer, is a fan of 2 characters in the Star Wars universe that are her absolute favorite. One is Padme. The other is Chopper, who is a little war criminal. My mother's favorite character in all of Star Wars is R2-D2, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because a lot of people love the droids. I personally hate the droids because, you know, I'm a Clone Trooper fan, and the droids are kind of the enemies of the Clone Troopers. So, you know, B1 battle droids. I hate clankers. Anyway, droids are a big part of the Star Wars universe, and we are introduced to quite the adorable little droid in B2EMO, who is Cassian's friend, a loyal servant, and also servant to Marva Andor. He's very interesting because he's a droid who has a stutter.
Mama Marva, he's back.
because he's quite old. And I think that that's interesting. I know they have done a stutter in a droid before, that little one that J.J. Abrams voiced in the sequels. But B2EMO is pretty adorable, and in fact, he's one of the first characters that you see in the whole show on Ferrix, and it's awesome. But he's a very interesting character, and the design team who created him did a really great job of making him feel different from a lot of the other droids that we've come to know in the Star Wars universe, while also feeling familiar. I think he's just really cool, and he's an awesome piece of Star Wars history now. I saw a video the other day on Instagram or TikTok or something. These guys who built their own version of B2EMO in their garage. They did an awesome job. They do show K-series droids being absolutely menacing. Like, we know that K2SO is a reprogrammed K-series droid, so we actually get to see what they're supposed to be like, which is fascinating. This producer just reminded me, another thing that I should talk about is the costuming. The costuming in the Star Wars universe is always going to be super cool because it's been an awesome thing since the 70s to just have these like weird and wacky costumes make sense in this fantastic universe that is the galaxy far, far away. And Andor is no exception. The costumes in the show are really fantastic and different and new and exciting. I think Cleo has one of like the coolest new costumes. It's like this like hooded thing, and it's very interesting. We will show some B-roll of that. The different planets that we go to, Narkina 5 being yet another water planet similar to Moncala or Camino, but actually having little islands of landmass. You get Ferrix, which is like this, outer rim, mid-rim, backwater planet that feels kind of like turn of the century industrial revolution vibes. A lot of them are workers, a lot of them are tradesmen. It's just a very interesting vibe, and I love to see the different costumes that we get there. Ferrix is a lot of yellows, a lot of reds, a lot of greens. It's very interesting how they put all that together. There is, of course, Coruscant, where ISB headquarters are, and everything's stark white or stark black. There's nothing gray. It's all those super harsh tones, and the uniforms are interesting. Aldhani is interesting because they had like a lot of Irish and Scottish influence, as well as Native American influence. I think Sami influence as well, put together very nicely to make this, kind of backwater planet with like all of this rich tradition and history, and the Empire's just kind of squashing that. It's a very interesting dynamic. And of course, the Chandrilan influence is also interesting because it's very Asian, which is reminiscent of Padme, because Padme's influences are Mongolian, Japanese, Chinese, a lot of and Korean, a lot of Asian people groups influences, and you see that in Chandrilan, customs and Chandrilan table setting, and in their costumes as well. They basically, like, the daughter and the husband wear kimonos basically a lot. They're not quite the same, but it's just interesting to see that kind of Asian influence that you see in Padme's wardrobe as well, even though she's from Naboo. But Chandrila and Naboo are both, they're core worlds, so they're important to the galaxy, and they're rich because they're in the core. But it's interesting to see that they have like similar heritage. It's just cool to see that, and the prison uniforms are fascinating in Narkina 5. Like, everybody's got that orange stripe, except for the medical doctor, who's also a prisoner there. He has the exact opposite color. It's like this light blue as opposed to like the darker orange stripe. It's really interesting, just all the work that they put into the show and everything that they did to make it, feel like Star Wars, but also feel something new and fresh and different. And also Cassian Andor's coat, his trench coat, is like the dopest thing ever, and my god, I really want that coat. And what's also interesting is Kenari, Cassian's original home planet. I'm trying to avoid spoilers, so I'm not going to get into it fully. But the Canary outfits are really interesting because it's very Lord of the Flies. These like kind of tribal outfits that these kids just kind of threw together from the remnants of like their parents or whoever left them on this desolated planet. It's also just brings into question a lot of interesting things about the Republic and the Separatists and pre-Clone Wars, what was happening in the galaxy, and I don't know. It's really interesting, but Canary is an interesting concept to explore, and I appreciate how they did that, and the costumes reflect it. So one of the other interesting things about Luthen, like I mentioned, his dichotomy. He has two separate lives that he leads. He has the Coruscanti showman life, where he owns this antique store, this antique shop, and he, lives like the high life, and he's this like super nice guy and everything. And then there is Luthen the rebel, and they're two completely different people. And shout out to Stellan Skarsgård. It's awesome. He does a great job playing that role and that dichotomy. And it's really interesting how he uses his costume to transform into each character. And they even show you how he does it in the show, and it's just brilliant acting. He basically changes into different outfits so that he can become different people, and he even uses a wig as well, which is just a really interesting dynamic. And I appreciate how they brought that in to show how characters from the Star Wars universe can kind of change themselves in a different way than we would expect, because that's just really basic. Just changing your outfit, changing your costume, that's something that we do here on Earth. Sometimes when we wear different outfits, we can almost become different people. I don't know, maybe that's just the actor in me talking. But anyway, Luthen's a really cool character, and I really hope to God that LEGO makes the Fondor as a set, because it's a really dope ship. So, in conclusion, Andor is a really awesome show because of the writing, the editing, the cinematography, the acting, the set design, the costumes, just an absolute wonderful world to live in as an audience member, as somebody who's into Star Wars, as somebody who's not into Star Wars but likes movies. All around, it's just an amazing show. It's got fantastic, fully developed characters. It's got some action as well. It's a little bit slow, yes, but it's just such a compelling story. It's so well written. Tony Gilroy did such an amazing job, and it's really awesome to see somebody of his caliber coming into the Star Wars universe and like just kicking ass with their awesome show. So it's really cool to see the way that Cassian interacts with all these different characters, and you get to see the dynamics between them, and it's really great to see dynamic camera movement in a Star Wars show, that was only partially shot using the volume. And it's so great to see those real sets again, and also to see those fantastic visual effects. I mean, the Aldhani arc, really good visual effects. Like, I remember sitting there watching it with my family for the first time, and we all were just kind of like, whoa, that was awesome. Like, it's definitely a really great moment. So I think that it's a really great show, and I hope that you guys all see it, especially before April 22nd when season 2 comes out. Tony Gilroy did a fantastic job in the first season, and I hope he does just as good of a job on the second season, if not better. From what we do know, it's also going to have similar arcs, and there's going to be time jumps in between the arcs, so be prepared for that. But I think it's going to be done well. I think it's going to be awesome. So please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We always love your participation, and let us know what you want us to do next. And as always, you got the makings of greatness in you.